In this video, we'll see how we can set up the gradebook using the natural grading method with no categories created. In this example, I'm in a blank course with a couple of fictitious students added to the course. So to go ahead and set up the gradebook, we want to navigate to the gradebook, and the gradebook links are listed on the left-hand side in the administration block, and you've got the grades link and the gradebook setup link. So if you want to set up the gradebook, you can directly go into the gradebook setup, or you can go into grades, and then from there you can navigate to the gradebook setup. So here typically you'd see your various students listed, the number of participants lists the number of students in your class, including yourself. And you see those students listed here in the first column, their email addresses, and then the various columns in that you're using in your class or that you create in your class. So to actually go ahead and set up the gradebook, we want to select the little down triangle and select gradebook setup. Okay, so here what we want to do first is you'd notice that your class name is listed with a little file icon on the left hand side. So we want to select edit and edit settings from here. And basically this is where you're going to go ahead and say use the natural grading method for the aggregation for the whole entire course. And this is the aggregation method that's highly recommended by our Moodle provider Moonami, and it's one of the newer types of aggregations that's available in Moodle. So if you're using and comfortable with any of the other types of aggregations, that's fine. I mean, they should all work, but we'll go ahead and in this example select natural aggregation. By default, the checkbox exclude empty grades is selected, and you can see that if you click on show more and you see the exclude empty grades listed. Basically what this means is that Moodle will only calculate grades where you have entered a grade. So for example, if your course has a total of 500 points and a student at the beginning of the semester got a 5 out of 5 on an assignment, so the student has earned a 5 out of 500. Which would put the student in a fairly, like in a failing grade actually. So, so if the default exclude empty grades is left selected in the system, it would only calculate grades where you have entered a grade. So if a student has not turned in coursework, a 0 would have to be entered in the gradebook. So the maximum grade by default is 100. And if everything looks good, so we can just take the defaults and go save changes. So now let's go ahead and add a column by selecting add grade item. And here we'll call this quiz 1. And for the max points, we'll add 20 and take the defaults and go save changes. So here you see the course total being 20 for the quiz 1 being worth 20 points, and so the whole quiz 1 is worth 100% of the grade, and that's what you see here in the weighted number listed. So next let's go ahead and add quiz 2, and we do that by selecting add grade item like we did before. Type in quiz 2. We'll make that weighted, or we'll give it a grade of 20 points and take the defaults and go save changes. So here you see the course total having 40 points, and the two quizzes are worth 50% each of the entire course grade. Let's go ahead and add another grade item, and this time we will add a homework. Homework number 1, and we'll just give it 10 points. And again, take all the defaults and select Save Changes. So now we have a course total of 50 points, and Moodle has automatically distributed the percentages and recalculated the weights based on the maximum grade. Just to make a point here, if you so decide that quiz 2 needs to be, say, 90%, and just to see how the system behaves. So you type in 90 and hit enter off the keyboard. So the notice what it does automatically. It says, okay, if this is 90, quiz 2 is 90%, then the 10 remaining percent is going to be divided among quiz 1 and homework 1, and quiz 1 is actually double the points of homework 1, so it lists homework 1 as 3.33%, and quiz 1 is double of that, 6.67%. So anyways, so you see how it actually does the calculation. You can play around with this, and I'm going to change it back to what it was before. It was 40 points for the quizzes each. So if I go 40 and hit enter, it goes ahead and does a recalculation, and it lists it, quiz 1 and quiz 2 as 40% and homework 1 as 20%. And then, as always, make sure to select the save button to save the changes. If you manually change the weight of the any of your columns over here, just make sure that you leave the checkbox next to it selected. So you can continue to build your gradebook, and if the exams and assignments are set up on Moodle, the corresponding gradebook columns will automatically be created for you. So let's go into the grader report and add the grades into the columns. And we do that by selecting the little down triangle, selecting grader report. And here you see the various columns that we just entered, quiz 1, quiz 2, and homework 1. And to enter grades, you simply double click on where the grades need to appear and type in the grade and hit enter off the keyboard. And typically the entries that you manually enter are highlighted in yellow. And so then we can move to the next, double click on the cell, enter the grade, and hit enter off the keyboard. So here I've logged in as a student, helper 2, and to view the grades, you basically, what the student would do is navigate to the administration area and select grades. And then here they see their grades listed. The student earned a 13 on quiz 1, and you see the grade displayed here. So in this video, we saw how we can set up a Moodle gradebook using the natural grading method for aggregation. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to send an email to moodle@lssu.edu. Thank you.